So this is Jesse Frania, all right? And
Yes.
so we don't have a full slot here. We have about a 10-minute slot before we go on to the next thing. But why don't you introduce yourself, and then maybe how you've been interacting with the unhoused community, and then anything that you want to bring up, whether it's asking a question or you want me to ask you a question, whatever it is. But start with that introduction.
Okay. Well, I'm Jesse Frania, as I said, and I guess my first time ever, even just really interacting with any unhoused at all, actually, was I myself have been homeless before, quite a few times actually.
Okay. So how recently?
Well, it's been quite a number of years ago.
Okay.
Actually, first experienced that when I was about 19 years old, for about 2 years, two and a half years,
Okay.
bouncing from shelter to shelter.
What would you identify as what led you to that?
Strained relationship with family at the time,
Okay.
and coming from a real conservative family, and how do I say this? Maybe consequences of some choices, and my lifestyle at the time obviously was not conducive to their standards. So really choices.
Okay.
Got
And those strained relationships, that's a theme. So
Very
I think-
big.
I think that's really important. And those strained relationships might have been because of
yes.
of that. So okay.
Right.
So go ahead, continue.
And then God put certain people in my life, in some of those shelters and outside of those shelters, and I was able to get on my feet. And then the next experience I had was actually a little different. I was actually a support worker for a place out in Eugene, Oregon, and worked with homeless people. Okay. So I was on the different end of the spectrum, and working with people. So having had that experience in my lifetime, and then working with folks who were experiencing homelessness and remembering how rough it was, from sleeping outside to this program was a hut program. It's actually pretty cool, actually, to going from that sleeping outside and not being safe to they're safe now. Now they can start working on their mental health, their physical health, some of those addiction issues, which a lot of that can get put on the back burner when you're living on the street, because you're not thinking about that. You're thinking of the next moment, the next minute, if you can get to the next minute, next 5 minutes. And so a lot of that stuff, even your dental stuff can get put on the back burner because you're in survival mode. It's rough. So that was really neat experience. And then when I moved back to Wausau, I was working just a regular job, regular Joe, regular Jesse. And then a friend of mine told me about Bridge Street Mission, and so I applied there and found out there's a need for third shift, and so that's where I currently am now.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so I've been asking this question generally for really a lot of people. So having experienced homelessness, having worked with people who are experiencing homelessness or have experienced homelessness, what do you feel is the most important thing for people who maybe haven't had that kind of interaction to understand about homelessness?
Each case is different.
Okay, we've heard that.
Very, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard that, and it might even be a cliche at this point, but it really is.
I don't think it's a cliche, but I've heard that through our conversations, and I think it's an important concept for us to understand, because if each case is different, that means each journey back
it's going to be different.
Is going to be different. So,
absolutely.
So continue.
There's times it may be a dual diagnosis. Could be drug addiction and mental health, or it could be like you pointed out earlier, it could be just mental health. It could be just addiction, or it could be both. So really, you've got to get to know the person, kind of really dig in. It might be uncomfortable. Of course, there's boundaries. You got to stay within those boundaries, and HIPAA laws, you got to follow all those. But get to know the person in the situation so you can really, and hone in on the issue so you can really help them. Find out what they really need. Got to kind of get to the root of the problem.
Okay. So, with that, if you would think back to your days in homelessness and some addiction, what was the root that you had to discover?
Oh, man.
If that's too personal, we don't have to go there.
Well, it was, for me, it was the addiction issue. But also, I went through a faith-based program myself in Illinois. For me, I believe it was a spiritual issue. And so, I mean, thank God for that place. And so, I think for me, it was spiritual. It was a rebellion problem.
Okay. All right.
But again, you have some folks too that may not be open to that. So again, how do you approach that?
Yes. Okay.
You know, and you can't it's not maybe not ideal to turn them away because they're not open to that. You still want to work with them, still love them, and try to help them.
So, what would you say while you were experiencing homelessness was the primary feeling, in a way, or state of mind, or perspective? What would be that primary thing that the rest of us might not be thinking about?
Oh man, I think it was a whole bunch of things. Scared, hopeless. At some point, honestly, I was suicidal at some point. Felt like there was no hope. It was the end of the world. I felt I'd never dig myself out of that, never get out of it, that it was basically this was it. This is what I was destined to be like the rest of my life. So yeah, I'd say a lot of fear and a lot of hopelessness.
So that statement, this is how it's going to be the rest of my life. Okay. In our Genesis process, which is our primary counseling at the mission, I've shared this a couple times during the course of our interviews, is that during Mystery of Addiction, the introductory class, we usually ask the question, how many people want to change?
Yes. Or
rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to change? And that's usually a high number.
Yeah.
All
absolutely.
right.
Absolutely.
But then we do a follow-up question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how many people, what is your score on relates to the hope that you can change? And inevitably that number is lower.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so it's not that people want to be in addiction. It's not that people want to be homeless.
Right.
It's that maybe they've tried in the past to change and they haven't been able to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I kind of heard that in your statement there. So, well, it's always going to be like this.
Yep.